Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our webinar, Dream Big and Act Small. I'm Tina Kadish, and I'm joined by Karen Maze, our Octavia health coach. She's a health coach. I'm a business coach, and I'm so excited to be here tonight. And before we go through who we are and share a little bit about why we even brought this together, this topic together, I want to go around the room and I want to ask all of you, after you introduce yourselves, because we want to have you introduce yourselves and tell us where you're tuning in, what you do, and what brought you here tonight to this webinar, and what is your biggest challenge when it has to do with goals, setting goals, more importantly, is achieving the goals and habits that are connected with that, because that's what we're going to talk about tonight is the goals and then habits that are aligned with your goals, because we could set all the goals we want, but are we actually are we doing the habit? I mean, are we actually implementing, and what are our habits every day? All right, so Kathy, why don't you take it away? Tell us where you're tuning in, what you do, and what brought you here tonight. How does this subject, what is your biggest challenge with this topic?
I'm tuning in from Washington State, and I'm a midlife mom's personal growth coach. I empower midlife moms to reclaim their identities lost to motherhood and to develop their new passion, power, and purpose, and design a life they love.
Okay.
And I'm digging into all of the opportunities I have to add to my business, and I'm tuning in tonight to continue to build on that.
Awesome. Okay, Steph.
Hi, I'm Steph Padro. I'm here to support my two friends, Tina and Karen, and also to learn better habits that I can do to reach my goals, because so many times you set goals, but then you don't know the habits that you need to have behind them. So I'm excited to hear all the goodies that you guys give us tonight. And I'm an empowerment coach for moms.
Awesome. All right, Andrea.
Thank you. I'm Andrea Biliati, and I want to support both of you, Karen and Tina, for this night, and that's why I'm here. But I'm also know I'm going to learn some really good stuff to help me. And I actually help moms also, moms over 40 who are healing from trauma, past traumas like childhood traumas and anything trauma related.
Awesome. All right. And all of you know who I am, what I do is I help those women that really are stuck with their careers and they want to start a business. They want to find that freedom, that joy. So I will turn it over to Karen. Tell us about you, Karen.
Well, thanks for having me here. It's so nice to be here. As you said, I am an independent Optavia coach, which means I help people who feel stuck in their health. So I focus in on the habits related to health, and what's really cool is as I get to help people work on that, and I'm always working on my own habits. By the way, it is not a one and done kind of thing, but I hear the change in the voices of the people I'm working with. You know, when people start engaging in those little habits that are in alignment with their goals, it's all of a sudden there's a brightness and a lightness in their energy that totally changes, and that's so fun to hear.
Good, yes. And why did we bring this webinar? So, Karen and I, we were chatting and we've known each other for a long time. And, one of the things we found is that, as we're coming into, it's the remainder of 2024, we're in July, and, we set out goals at the beginning of the year, and then what happens? Like, are we right now, all of you can be honest, are you on track with your goals right now? Your income goal or whatever you set out at the beginning of the year. And so as we wrap, we're almost at the end of July. I can't believe it. Are we on track? And if we're not, say to yourself, why not? Don't say to yourself, God, I'm such a failure. I
Mhm.
should have. God, I can't believe I didn't. No. But we need to assess and reflect and do a mid-year reflection on why haven't we? And own it. Own it. Maybe I didn't do the activity that I said I was going to do. I wrote down a goal, but life got in the way, because life will always get in the way. There's always going to be things that are going to come in. So we have to own it and look at ourselves in the mirror, because it's between me, us, and the mirror, and say, why haven't you achieved this? But don't feel like, here's the thing, don't feel like a failure and say to yourself, God, I'm such an idiot. I'm so stupid. I didn't do this. I was saying that to myself when I wanted to quit my job so bad. And year after year after year would go by, and I was still in my job. And I set the goal, but I just didn't achieve it. So people were tired of hearing me say, I'm going to quit my job. They said, oh yeah, really? Really, Tina? How many times we got to hear that? So I was really feeling like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? So, but we don't want you to do that. So tonight's purpose is really, let's talk about the goals. What is behind the goals, and how do we align our habits? Karen has great, great tips about habits. She is like on fire with habits. Okay. I just love her methodology, her tools. And so Karen is going to be sharing our slides, and this is recording. So all of you will get the replay from tonight, not to worry. And Karen, take it away.
All right. I thought, Tina, if it's okay with you, I thought we'd start off with a little levity, because we're all
Yes.
entrepreneurs here and we're
Yes.
all moms here.
We're all moms.
So
I love this. I
this
love
cat's
this.
quitting my job to pursue anxiety full time.
Yes. Who said that? Who said that being an entrepreneur or pursuing entrepreneurship is easy? It's not easy. It is anxiety. It is
Right.
definitely anxiety.
And
Okay.
who didn't say I want all the time freedom, and only to be like, I work all the time. Oh my
There
gosh.
are days that I do not have freedom. Okay. Because there are days that I say to myself, really? Is this being an entrepreneur? Because I seem to be working more than when I was in
Yeah.
my job.
First birthday after bootstrapping a business. Not the most festive occasion for her.
Yep. Yes.
40-hour work week. I remember my first part-time job. This one, the visual, let it soak in. I feel like this sometimes. There's my new idea. Got it. I'm all over it. But there's another thing I forgot over there.
Exactly. Those unfinished projects. I love this visual.
Yeah. Starting a business versus running a business.
Yep. How many of you can relate to this? This image, when Karen shared it to me, we're all excited about starting a business, but the actual running it there are days like I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
Okay. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
Then I think the same thing happens with our goals sometimes, right? You start out all fired up to climb the mountain, and then the journey gets real, right? And so that brings us right to dream big and act small. And I'm actually going to let you start it off, right, Tina?
Yep. I will take it away with goal setting.
Okay. All right.
All right. So as I'm going to keep this simple. There's 3 things that we're going to talk about when I talk about goals. And I'm actually I have an action plan template that I will send to you, that actually I will put it in the chat, a document that will actually give you this template on how can you take action on goals. Because when we think about the remainder of 2024, and I want you to think about what are your goals as we wrap up 2024. And one thing I want to say is don't create, you might have done this at the beginning of the year. Don't overwhelm yourself and create all these goals. When I look at this, what are your goals for the remainder? Pick 1 to 2 goals that you want to achieve? And I want to ask each of you this question. What are your goals for remainder of 2024? So let's have a conversation. Kathy, what's your goals for remainder of 2024? One to two goals.
One or two?
One or two. Just one, two.
One, get more serious about being consistent, planning time to actually offer products to purchase, post offers for my clients.
So consistently offering your offers and taking the time. Okay. And time. Those are the words that I heard.
Carving out that time.
Carving out the time. Okay. And we're going to talk about habits. All right. Steph, what is your goals for remainder of 2024?
To roll out my rebrand or whatever you want to call it, and to launch by the end of the year my signature program within that rebrand.
Okay. So signature program. Okay. Launching. Okay. Andrea. Oh, unmute yourself.
That would help. Okay.
Go ahead.
Basically to just hone in on my program, really go over it, like fine tune it. And especially because now I kind of changed it a little bit. So just fine tune everything and just kind of really just be consistent. Be consistent what I have to do in my sales process. And if I could by the end of the year, literally if I could have 3 to 5 clients, that would look amazing by December.
Awesome. All right. So 3 to 5 clients. Good. And create a sales process. Awesome. So these are great goals. And if I'm hearing all three of you, it's the launching, the consistency, your time. Karen, what is your goals for the remainder of 2024?
Well, I have a lot. I want to launch my first workshop, my first paid workshop.
So first paid workshop. All right. Good. Okay. So when we look at our goals, what is the why? Like, why do you want to, okay, Kathy, your offer, one offer you may have, or multiple offers. We have multiple offers. But why? What is your why behind that goal? What is that? And when I say what is your why, for me, I'll give you an example of my story. When I wanted to quit my job, that was my goal. Why did I want to quit my job? That's the question we got to ask ourselves. Why do I have this goal? So any goal that we have, why? What is the why behind that goal? It's not just setting a goal, because we could set a goal, but are you motivated by that goal? Because if you're not motivated by that goal, if there is no like feeling that why be within you, then maybe it's not a goal you need to set out. So don't just set a goal because, oh, it's what I need to do. No. What is the why? And I want you, all of you, to write this out after tonight. Like, why do you want to launch your program, your workshop? Like Karen wants to launch her first paid workshop. Kathy, why do you want to be consistent with your offers? All right. Steph, you're rebranding and you're going to be offering your signature program. Why? Why do you want to do that? Anybody want to share your why? If you can share it. Andrea, you're being more consistent, creating your sales process and having 3 to 5 clients. Why do you want that? Anybody want to share why? Yes, Andrea.
Because I want more freedom to do what I want when I want. I want to be there for my family. I mean, my 2 kids are older now; they're in their 20s, but I know, they're gonna get to that point where they're gonna want families, especially my daughter. She wants to have a family one day. I plan on being a grandma one day, and I want to be able to, when I end that day, to have that freedom for my grandkids too. for my future grandkids. I want to be able to travel, take my family away and travel the world
Okay.
and
So,
be on my time.
all right. And ask yourself this question. Why do you want freedom? What will it do for you when you have freedom?
Because it would empower me to be there when my family needs me
Yeah. Yeah.
and not have to worry about checking in with a boss. Can I take the day off because my kids need me?
Yep.
I have my time. I want it scanned and I want to have people that are working for me. So when I can like I have that time freedom, I know that it's still going
Yep.
and I could like take away, I could step back and I know that the business is going to keep going.
Good. Okay. All right. Because I want all of you to think about that why behind the goal. It is so important, not just writing down a goal. You got to get into the feeling. You got to get into that visual, like visualize yourself. Like when Andrea was just sharing about being with her grandkids one day. What is it? What will that do for her when she's out there? She's got her programs, she's already got it, and now she's spending time. She's got time freedom. What will that do for her and her family? How will she feel? What's that experience? Maybe, that peace of mind. She'll be in that present moment. Money's coming in because she's got the programs already out there. And
Like not having to worry, not having to worry
yes,
about,
yeah,
you got the money, you
yeah,
got it, it's coming in, and you can just literally enjoy, literally be present.
yep,
I talk about mindfulness and everything in my programs. I think it's being able to
exactly.
be present and not have to worry.
Yep. So being present and not worrying. All right. Anybody else? What is the why behind your goal? Kathy.
My why is to have financial freedom so I don't always have to struggle and that I can take care of my family.
Yep.
And then second big why is to show my boys that I'm meant for more, that I'm not just their mom, I'm not just here to do everything.
Yep.
That they can do more. They're more than a lot of my kids have different diagnoses, that I want to show them that they are meant for more too, that they don't have to allow things to stop them. But mostly I'm tired of struggling. I've struggled my whole life and we need to stop that. That's what I need to stop.
So that struggle is when you look at your life, you say, I'm tired of the struggle. I want my life to be with ease. And so that I can, and being a role model for your kids, that you're actually, your why, if I hear you, is you're creating a legacy.
Right. Yeah.
For them. You're
Yep.
creating a legacy and you're being a role model. So then one day they're going to say, wow, my mom did it. My mom, I remember my mom, she worked hard and she set these goals and she had a great business and she did it. So you are the role model. You set the example. You created that legacy for them.
Yeah.
Right? Does that make sense?
Totally. I have the freedom of time. Well, not really, because I have such a big family that is extremely demanding. But I don't have to go check in with a boss. I don't have to go report somewhere else. But I need to be able to manage my time that I have so that I can do it all.
Exactly.
Basically.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. And we're going to get into like, how can we do it all and what are the habits? Because creating those habits, because we all have the same amount of time, all of us, but it's how do we spend the time? What are we doing with our time every single day? All right, Steph, what is your why behind your goal? You said you're rebranding, you're relaunching your signature program. Why?
Because I really want to be able to help women. And in order for me to really be able to help women and change lives, I have to be aligned with what I'm doing.
Okay.
And without me being aligned, I will never fully be able to help them. So that's why I'm going through everything that I'm going through, is so that I could truly help these women
Mhm.
It's something that I feel super passionate about.
Okay, good. So that alignment for you is very important. And when you look at the word alignment, what does that mean for you? Like, why alignment? Keep asking yourselves why, multiple levels of why. It's not just like I said, for me was I want freedom. Why do I want freedom? What does freedom mean for me? For me, it was always about not working for someone. I wanted to have my own time, not being told what to get paid, what to do, when to do it, and with whom to do it. To me, that was freedom. To me, freedom right now, I'll be honest with you, Friday afternoons, because I am being intentional with my schedule. And when I am on a Friday afternoon and I'm not living for Friday, and I say I have no appointments today because I'm intentionally not setting appointments on a Friday afternoon, that to me is freedom. Okay. Now, am I making money during that afternoon that I don't have clients? No, no. But do I have freedom? Yes, I do, because I am intentionally creating my schedule. Because I used to live for that Friday to get out and couldn't wait to start my weekend. But now I am in the driver's seat. So to me, that's freedom. Okay. Karen, what about you? Tell me, you said your first paid workshop. Why?
Yeah.
What did that do for you?
Well, it's definitely something new, and I want to grow in my business and grow in the number of people that I'm having an impact on. And it will serve another goal of mine, which is to speak more and speak to larger groups of people.
Okay.
And I want to do that honestly, just because I enjoy it. It's these are the things that I find are fun. I can't, I've happened into a profession that I can't believe I get paid to do it because it's fun.
Good.
And so just getting to do more of it at a higher level. And yeah, I want to make more money, and I want to make more money because I'm impacting more people on a deeper level.
Good. So when you think about the impact for more people, why do you want to impact other people? What will that do for you? See, I want you to get deep in the why. Keep asking yourself, like, why do I want to make an impact?
I
See?
feel like I'm leading a life of consequence, and
Yeah.
that I'm really making them. It's always been about, for me, the one. Yes, of course I want to help lots of people, but I want to be able to connect with the one and see the light in the eyes and see the change in the demeanor,
Mhm.
and the empowerment that so many of you were talking about, to
Yeah.
really witness that in somebody else.
Yes.
The way I've been helped, to really pay it forward.
Good, good. So I'll give you an example. Like for me, I wrote my second book. As all of you know, I lost my daughter 4 years ago, and I wrote my second book. The purpose of my second book was because I wanted to help moms who have lost a child. That was very simple. I wanted to help other moms. And so when someone now, as the word is getting out that people know I lost my daughter, and people are reaching out to me saying, I know you wrote a book. Well, so and so just lost. Or I have a woman right now that I used to work with, a true story. A week ago on my daughter's anniversary, I offered gifting 5 copies of my book. And I did a video about it. And 2 women reached out to me. One of them, she said, my aunt is about to lose her daughter to cancer. And I said, oh my God. And she's in her 30s. And she said, my aunt won't even talk. I can't even reach her. She will not talk about it at all. And I feel that your book could help her. And I said, you know what? I'll get it out to you. So I mailed it to her the other day. She just got it. She said, thank you so much. I'm going to give this to my aunt because I feel that this could help her. I got tears in my eyes because I said to myself, if I could help other moms with my story on how they can move through it and navigate the loss, I'm making an impact. That's my why. That's my why. in that area. You know, of course, I have my why in my career, helping women find their passion. Why? Because I feel that all of us need to be living a life doing what we love to do. And why? Because I don't want you to be unhappy and stuck and unfulfilled. And what will that do for you? Because I want you to have freedom. What does freedom look like to you? You know what I mean? So to me, that's my why behind the goals that I have. And so your why has to really be so passionate that you actually get tears. So when I'm giving out books about my daughter, I get tears, because if I could just make a difference, I mean, someone shared a story with me. They said that because of your book, my son lost his best friend. They're in middle school. She said, because of your book, my son is actually able to talk to me about it, about the loss of his friend. That to me was like, oh my God, I didn't realize how I could make an impact. Mm-hmm. Because when my daughter died, I said, I just want to do something. I was just like, not really thinking about it, because I'm like that. I'm like, I'm not really thinking deep. I'm not a deep person. I just want to do something. And I wrote a book. All right. And then, but I didn't realize the deeper reason. So I want all of you really to think deep on your goals, on the why behind each goal, and act as if it's already done. So Karen, your workshop is already done. You're making money. You've got people coming on a regular basis. All right. Kathy, your offers out there. You're consistently thinking about your time. You're out there already. You're already putting out those offers. Steph, you've already relaunched your business. It's done. It's making money. It's there. Andrea, you're already helping those moms. You already created your sales processes. You're already out there making those offers. All of you already doing it. But I want you all to visualize it and really believe within yourself that it's done. I'm done. It's happening right now. And I'm feeling it. Because when you look at your goals, again, like I said, it's not just writing it down. It's the why behind it, and really truly believe it's already there. Not just because what stops us is that we write it out, but do we really believe it? Are we motivated by it? Are we really getting that feeling within us? And if you're not, then maybe that's not a right goal. Then get rid of the goal. Maybe you need to do something else. You know, that's really when I talk about goals. Does this make sense, everybody? Any comments, questions? Moms of trauma. I feel so much more motivated. Yes, Andrea, because you are specifically helping moms in trauma. And why are you the one that can help them? Because you've done it. You've experienced trauma. Okay? That's why. Like today, I was in a networking group, and there was a woman that I met. She's a grief counselor. And I said, so happy to meet you. I said, I lost my daughter. And she said, let's connect. I said, absolutely. If I can offer any resource, any assistance, I would love to do that. All right? Because I've been through it. I know what it feels like. All right? And if I can help someone else, then I would love to. I'm not a grief counselor. I do not want to be a grief counselor, because more and more people think I'm a grief counselor. No, I'm not a grief counselor. I am not that person. I'm not branding myself, but I can share my story, because all of us have stories. And all of you, when you're sharing your business and who you help, because you're living it. You're living it. You know what it feels like to be the mom that has lost themselves. You lost your identity. You're overwhelmed, you're burnt out, you've gone through the trauma, you've lost yourself. And now you want to help those moms as well. And you become relatable to them. All right. So yeah, so Andrea, absolutely. You can help people in trauma because you've lived it. You can share that story. All right. Anybody else before we move into Karen's piece on habits? How do we take our goals and actually apply them, make them our habits, and that when we leave here tonight or we wrap up 2024, you can actually say, I'm doing it. I've done it. I've got discipline. I'm consistent. Because what I hear over and over again is that consistency. that lack
Mm.
of consistency. That seems to be the common theme. Oh, I just didn't do that. But you got to ask yourself, why? Why haven't I? Why do I decide to not make myself a priority? Because that's what it is. We're not making ourselves a priority. We're putting everybody else first and us second. Okay? It is. I know, Kathy, it is hard to stay consistent. I know. Life always interrupts us. You know, you have your mom right now who is going through a health challenge. Your priority is your mom. When my daughter was going through her cancer, my daughter was the priority. And every day I had a schedule. Every single day for 8 months, I had a schedule. But in that schedule, I fit in my business with the laptop in the hospital, working my business, even if it was 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And when she passed away, I said, wow, what do I do now? I have all this time. All right. But I still, what my point is this, we all have life interruptions. But you have to ask yourself, like having that vision of yourself, like where do you see yourself, Kathy, going for yourself? And Steph and Andrea, because the last thing you want to do is wake up a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and say, I've lost myself. I'm not where I want to be, and I'm just not taking care of myself. And you could say to yourself, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. And then tomorrow, in a blink of an eye, your life can change. And so I just want you to make your goals a priority. That's what I want to share here with when we think of goals, is make them a priority, because you do not know what will happen tomorrow. You really don't. So I know I went off on a tangent on goals, but I want all of you the message here is I want you to have a sense of urgency with your goals. Not just write them down and just say, well, this is an action, I got to do goals. No. It's really that feeling behind it, that why behind it. And if you don't do it, what happens? All right. Does that make sense, everybody? Any comments, questions? Karen, does this make sense?
Absolutely. I think what you're saying is, you said it so well, is to really make that connection with your compelling future, right? Tony Robbins talks about the compelling future. You got to create, we all have to create our own compelling future that is going to create that urgency. That's so
Yeah.
key.
Yeah, create that urgency. And when you look at the successful people out there, and this is one thing I want to say, everybody who is successful has had life shit. Things have happened, but they still get to do what they got to do. And today they could be successful. All right. And some of you, we know, you think that the Tony Robbins, the Grant Cardones, and all those other people had life easy. No, they had life. Life happened. There's people out there that lost everything and they still made it happen. I mean, I just met a guy the other day. He's a pastor. He lost everything in a fire one day. Him and his family, they lost everything in a fire. And today he's a successful business person and he's a pastor. But he lost everything. I'm like, whoa. Okay. Everything was destroyed in a fire. All right. So don't make the excuse that life happens, because life is going to happen. And I'm not saying this to be mean or anything. I say this with love. We have to really think about what is it that will make us happy, and what do we want? What do we want to achieve? What is our legacy that we want? Like you just said it, Kathy. You want your sons to look at you and say, "Wow, my mom did it. My mom is a powerful, strong, resilient woman. I want to take what she's done and I want to implement these things for myself." I am so proud of my mom because she did it in spite of all the challenges that we've had as a family. So I want you to really, all of you, think about that. Okay. All right, Karen, take it away.
All right. I don't know if I can follow that, Tina. Let's see.
Oh, yeah. I went off on a tangent.
So Tina's got us all fired up
I
about
tend to do
goals
that.
and dreams and thinking big. And then now I'm here to tell you to think slow and small. Super inspiring, right? Well,
Good.
I am the queen of overcomplicating things. And one way I do that is to get into information overload, where I feel like I need to know all of it before I can even begin. So I'm that guy on the left there. I think I got to know more than anybody else on the planet before I can even get started. And but I've learned that that's not really the case. So when I catch myself going there, I stop and I look for something I can do now. Just like you, I love that you shared that, Tina, about, I want to do something. I'm going to write a book, and you got into action. And so learning is great. I love learning, but there is no substitute for doing. And this goes for habits too. Small habits that get done repeatedly, like we've all touched on, being consistent, they beat the perfect ones that we can't sustain every single time. So if I do my job well tonight, you're going to leave here convinced that small habits are the way to go, and you're going to be super fired up. So let's stop worrying about how much we know and focus on the small daily acts. And first, I'm going to tell you a little bit about me and why all of this matters so much to me. I became passionate about habits when I finally figured out that they were the key to creating the life I wanted. I could literally re-engineer my life and stop feeling like I was ruled by circumstances and the past. I was in. Yeah, I shed over 100 pounds. I also lost a bunch of things you can't weigh on a scale, like limiting beliefs, misconceptions about healthy living, and oh yeah, crippling self-doubt. So 9 years ago, I didn't know that it was possible to create healthy habits that I actually enjoy. And that's why today I'm passionate about helping people identify the next small step in the right direction for them, and then helping them actually take that step. Because that's what my coach did for me, and it changed everything. The old me had habits like showing up at the last minute, rushing, staying up way too late and calling it me time, not eating for long periods of time, and then eating all the things. I was constantly stressed out and justifying everything I had to eat and drink to keep going. I had no choice, is what I told myself. And so let's get into habits. What is a habit anyway? A habit is any regularly repeated behavior that requires little or no thought and is learned rather than innate. It's developed through reinforcement and repetition. I'm going to say part of that again: little or no thought and reinforcement and repetition. Our brains love repetition. As entrepreneurs and creators, this might strike you as bad news at first, because we love the new shiny objects, right? And the big dreams and exciting things and exciting projects. But if you stop to consider it for a moment, you'll soon see what I see, which is that by mindfully creating the habits that help us design the futures that we want, we gain the freedom and the bandwidth to pursue the big, awesome dreams. Our brains are freed up from all the little things, and we can get to work on the bigger ones. Tiny actions repeated over time are the compound interest of your personal growth, and really any kind of growth. It builds and it builds and it builds until boom, there's a big change. And that's when people say, oh, you were an overnight success. No. It's all these little things I've been doing and they finally compounded, right? So the goal is to automate the good, or I don't like to use the word good and bad habits, but we automate the desirable habits, and we make the undesirable ones inconvenient and difficult. I love how Tina encouraged us to get really clear on our goals, and I 100% agree. And this might mean starting out with something that sounds like, my goal is to be a badass in business. Well, now I need to define what a badass in business actually looks and sounds and feels like, because it's going to mean something different to me than it does to any of you. So I need to get to the particulars. Do I want to travel more? How much? Where do I want to go? How long will I stay? Am I going to have a home base, or am I going to be a nomad? Am I going to be basing my travel on speaking gigs, or I'm going to be basing my speaking gigs on travel? Am I bringing my family, an assistant? What is it really going to be like? What is that future version of me or you doing? And what is she not doing, which might be just as important? day in and day out. And what is she doing to make it all fun and satisfying? Because when you get really clear on all of that and start working on the habits and behaviors from the future and bring them into the present, that's when things start to transform. Blink if you've ever created the perfect plan only to have it fall apart on the first day. Anyone else? Just me? It's definitely happened to me. The problem is that the system that we designed in that case was designed for optimal conditions, the perfect conditions when everything is predictable and everything lines up. But what we actually needed was a system that takes our bad days or our unpredictable days into account. So there's no more white knuckling it through when you commit to what you can actually do on your worst day. When you wake up unmotivated and God forbid your family member's in the hospital and all you have is 20 minutes, what are you committing to that you can do on your worst day? And let that be the baseline, not this idea of perfection of what we can do when everything's optimal. For you, that might mean strategically reaching out to 3 people per day or posting once a day in your private group. It really depends on you and your business and what goal it is that you're working to create. So, and Tina will tell you to look at what drives your business growth and focus there. There's a great book that many of you have probably heard of and maybe even read called Atomic Habits. And in Atomic Habits, James Clear says it so perfectly. We don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. And before I adopted this mindset around my healthy habits, I was constantly wondering why I couldn't keep up and be perfect. And I was always throwing in the towel after 2 or 3 days. One of the pivotal experiences that helped me see the light was back in 2019 when my husband and I decided to pay off our consumer debt. It was crippling us. Most of it was high interest rate credit cards, and it totaled more than $100,000. We decided to pay them off one by one, starting with the smallest balance and moving up. I looked at our budget and calculated that if we watched every penny, after minimum payments and other bills, we could send an additional $2,000 to debt each month. And we did most of the time. But occasionally something would come up and we'd have to spend more than anticipated. And this sent me into an emotional tailspin. I was unable to celebrate the fact that we were moving in the right direction because I was so focused on occasionally missing the mark. At the end of 2020, I calculated how much we had paid off over the course of that year. And I realized that if I had cultivated faith in the process and in our positive actions, I could have found a lot more joy in the journey. Because guess what? Yeah, we had missed the mark a few months, but our monthly average was way more than $2,000. But even that result doesn't really matter. It's really about cultivating the joy in the process, the joy and the satisfaction in the process. Even on the months when we hadn't hit the goal, we hadn't added any new debt. That's something to celebrate. That was a real change in the way that we did things. So it was really about consistent action and commitment, not perfection. I almost let that quest for perfection and perceived failure derail the whole thing. So that when I had that light bulb moment, that's when I stopped hyper-focusing on every data point and started to look at trend lines. I began to dance to the music instead of just following the steps. And I finally understood the value of a great system, or as I like to think of it now, an ecosystem of small habits that feed and nourish one another. Look at these 2 ladders and you'll immediately see why the small habits matter. The person on the right can't even get started, while the one on the left is up in the stratosphere somewhere. If only it were this obvious in daily life. I mean, I get it. The small steps seem boring because they're so doable. We crave novelty and excitement, maybe even difficulty. It may be that we haven't connected strongly enough, like Tina was talking about, with what's at the top of the ladder, or we don't think it's really possible. What I will say is that even though I made myself pretty miserable during our debt payoff journey, I was committed to the process. I was so sick and tired of living paycheck to paycheck that I was willing to endure just about anything. And as long as I knew we were making progress, even when I was discouraged. I had a system in place that kept me going in spite of any mindset difficulties that I came up with. But even at the worst of times, I've never had any trouble imagining what might be at the top of that ladder. I see abundance, I see peace, I see freedom, I see limitless options. I can taste it. The key for me has been to stay in momentum and cultivate belief in myself as well as in the process. And let me tell you, if I can do it, anybody can. Let's just say, for example, that with my upgraded frame of mind, I now envision that my future self works about 5 hours a day, gets up at 5 a.m., I exercise, I meditate, I journal, I get some sun, I eat healthy throughout the day, and maybe I'm also training for a 10K. What else is that version of me doing that's making all of that fun and satisfying? I really need to get specific. Well, I'm probably going to bed around 9:30, probably stop drinking coffee by noon. I'm probably doing daily gratitude, jogging a mile a day, maybe longer runs on the weekend. I'm fueling my body well with nutritious food. I'm hydrating, meditating. Oh, and oh yeah, I'm still taking care of my family and managing my thriving business. That's a lot, but I'm already doing some of those things, which is great. So if I really want to move toward that 5 a.m. version of myself, it's time to start taking baby steps to becoming that person. I'm going to go fast enough to keep it interesting and slow enough to make it doable. There's no grinding it out, no crushing it, or being obsessed with every single data point. I'm building that 5 a.m. rock star slowly and with a strong foundation underneath me. Getting to the top of that ladder is badass and sexy, and it's about getting it done, not the size of the steps or being perfect. Luckily, there are ways to make creating habits easier. These are just few strategies. I'm going to go into each one that can help you design your ecosystem of friendly habits to fuel your own success and well-being. The first is habit stacking, and it's really my go-to when I want to add something to my routine or if I'm helping one of my clients create a new habit. And once you have the hang of it, it's pretty fun. What you're doing is you're pairing a new habit with something you're already doing effortlessly. We all have things that we do effortlessly already. It might be putting on your shoes or your glasses, making your coffee, or pouring your coffee, brushing your teeth. Look around at your daily life and you'll find plenty of opportunities to habit stack. But in my own life and in my helping my clients, it might sound something like after I pour my morning coffee, I will take my vitamin. As soon as I sit down at my desk, I will review my work calendar and make any necessary changes. Immediately before sitting down to lunch, I will perform 10 air squats. Temptation bundling is where you put an enjoyable activity alongside something that is less desirable, less fun. In Atomic Habits, James Clear tells the story of a college student who builds a stationary bike that powers his laptop so that in such a way that he can only watch Netflix while pedaling above a certain speed. That is a great example of temptation bundling. You don't have to go that far, but James Clear puts it so perfectly. He says, temptation bundling offers a simple way to accomplish tasks that are important but never feel urgent. By using guilty pleasures to pull you in, you make it easier to follow through on the more difficult habits that pay off in the long run. There are endless ways to do this, and it can be pretty fun. In my house, it looks like listening to music or a podcast while I'm doing the dishes. You can also maybe plank while you're reading a page. You can catch up with a friend while you're going for a walk. You could do some of that more mindless work that you have to do while watching your favorite TV show. There are a lot of options there. Commitment devices are also really powerful. This is where you hold yourself accountable by committing to a positive future behavior now. It might look like paying in advance for something that's going to hold you accountable, paying in advance for a networking group, for a program that you want, an educational program, a gym membership. You can even do something like get a dog to encourage you to walk more. You got to walk the dog. We're more likely to do things for somebody else's benefit, right? So that might be your four-legged friend. You can volunteer to speak at an event. Hello, because you want to do more of that, right? Another thing you can do, like another commitment device, is to make it public. Declare your intentions. Writing it down is great. It increases your chances greatly of actually accomplishing your goal and your habit, but declaring it even to just one person increases the odds even more. You could sign up for co-working sessions. That's another way. And you can, some people love to create an or else. I find that my male clients gravitate to this one a little more, but one mindset person that I follow, he talks about, he pins a $20 bill to his cork board, and if he doesn't follow his workout routine, he has to tear up the $20 bill. So that's an or else. That's, and you can design your own. That's a little harsh for my personal taste, but it can be effective. And finally, community. If I had to pick a favorite, it probably would be community, because it is so, so important. And by being here, I'm pretty sure it's important to all of you as well. But this is where you intentionally spend time in groups where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. And you can do this at events like this, in Tina's community, and meetup groups, fan clubs, accountability and support groups, religious and spiritual groups, networking groups, book groups. There's lots and lots of ways to bring community into our lives. And it really can also just be one other person, but the when you can get that group energy going, that is uplifting. Really, they say hang out with people who feel like sunshine. The more you engage in that, the better off you're going to be. Some other tips to help with acquiring habits is, and Tina touched on this, choose habits and goals that align with your desired identity and your core values. We don't actually break bad habits, we replace them with desired habits. So if there's something you want to stop doing, think about what it is you're going to start doing instead. Be specific when you're choosing a habit about when and where you're going to perform it. I gave the example of when right before I sit down for lunch, I'm going to do 10 squats, for example. Then the moment before I sit down becomes the trigger to start that routine. Make it fun and flexible. You got to enjoy, and maybe you won't enjoy every squat, but first of all, 10 squats doesn't take that long to do. So, but keep it fun, make it something enjoyable that you can get started with easily, and that isn't rigid. Rigidity, when they build bridges, they have to make them flexible. Otherwise, when there's a wind of any kind of speed, it just falls apart. So you want to have the flexibility to move with what's going on in your life. And it's really, really important to celebrate yourself. And I think this is hard for a lot of people. So think about ways that you can celebrate yourself. It can be a reward at the end of the tunnel kind of thing, but it can even be something really small. You can, when you do something, you complete your habit, you can snap your fingers, clap your hands, you can give yourself a high five in the mirror. You could literally pat yourself on the back. You can text a friend or a coach. I did it. I got it done. Or today makes 25 straight days of walking a mile. Whatever it is, celebrate it in some way. And remember, there is no failure, only feedback. So if there's something, like Tina touched on this, like if there's something that's just not working, it could be that you need to tweak your system. Could be, it's worth exploring. But it could be that you're pursuing something that is not in alignment with your identity or your core values. It may be that you're trying to please or not disappoint somebody else. So look for feedback from your data points. If there's a habit that you're trying to create and you're just not getting it done day after day, week after week, don't take that as like something bad about you or evidence that you are a failure. Just look at it as a data point. Oh, that's interesting. What do I need to do about that? Is that habit really important? Do I actually need to create that habit, or am I making amazing progress without it? Or do I just need to change the benchmark? Maybe I was a little overly optimistic when I set that habit goal. Habits are so powerful, and so are you. So if I can leave you with one thing today, it's this. Even as you think small, remember to keep the big picture in mind. What you really want, which Tina really spoke so eloquently about. The danger of getting intense about habits is that we can get consumed with the minutia and lose sight of what really matters. The way I see it, the goal is to think of habits in great detail now so that they become second nature. They become part of us. It's like playing music or dancing. When I sit down to a new piece of music, at first I'm really focused on getting the notes right. I'm making a lot of mistakes. It takes all of my focus and energy just to hunt and peck my way through the music. But as I practice, muscle memory kicks in and my fingers seem to know where to go. The music on the page is still there to guide me, but I'm just glancing at it now and again to stay oriented. This is when I start to have fun with it. I can bring in some self-expression and maybe even play with it a bit and make it my own. My hope for you is that you choose habits that you want to make a part of you. They don't have to be easy. They should enable you to do hard things. But make sure you like what you're creating along the way, because if you fundamentally don't like the music you've chosen to play, it won't be sustainable. My core belief that there is a healthy, fulfilling life for you, full of habits that you love. Hard work is easy when you love the person you're doing it for, right? So lead with love for yourself. And to help you in that effort, I have a habit tracker that many of my clients use, and it's a great accountability tool as well. They'll snap a picture of it at the beginning and the end of the week, letting me know what they're committing to. So I invite you to download that. And if you'd like any help designing choosing the habits that are going to serve your goals, Tina and I are resources for you. Tina, I'm going to hand it back to you
All right.
to wrap it up.
Good. So the habit tracker is a great download. I also put in the chat an action plan template that you could print it out, and it's really helping you to take action on your goals. All right. And I'm offering a goal setting session for free. You know, you need a goal setting session. All of you are in my community. So, you know, we can have a goal setting session for sure. But download, grab the copy of my template and definitely download this habit tracker. Any questions, anybody?
I just want to mention one thing. When you let me know that you want the habit tracker and you get the email, you'll be invited to also book a habit session with me. So get your goals aligned with Tina, and then bring them over to me, and we'll talk about getting the habits to align with your goals.
Good, good, awesome. Any questions? Yeah, so Steph, you want to have a, so Steph wants a habit tracker. All of you want a habit tracker, right? Andrea, Kathy? Okay, good. Do you need their email addresses, Karen?
I have Steph's and Andrea's. I would need Kathy's.
Kathy, put your email in the chat, please. And then Karen will send out the habit tracker. Any questions? I know that we're at 8 o'clock. We want to keep this within the hour.
Wow, time flies.
I know, right? Good. All right, she just put
Just
that
want
in.
to jump in and just say that was fantastic, both of you. I really appreciate it.
Thank
That
you.
was great. Yeah, hearing about goals and then hearing about the habits, it just tied in so well together. And Karen, you're great at how you tie habits in with like visuals. That was perfect.
She does.
Oh,
She
thank
does a
you.
great job. Karen does an amazing job with habits.
Yeah.
I have to say that is great. I like that because I'm a visual person with everything. So when you show the visual, it just makes so much more sense.
It does. It
And
does.
it's so true. I mean, yeah, I loved it. It was great. It was put together. You did a
Thank you.
fantastic job.
Thank you. How about you, Kathy?
It's a good example for me, at least, to see how it all plays out, especially when you're co-hosting.
Yes, yes,
Mm.
yes. Karen did a great job.
Very helpful.
She's the one that did the slides. I take no credit for the slides.
I told Tina I think in slides, so I have to do the slides.
Yes, Karen had slides. I don't have to do slides. I'm more of a talker and just like share. But
was-
I think
It was actually a really good experience because see, I'm going to do a webinar masterclass the end of August, my first one. And I'm like, yes. So it kind of gives me, it kind of like it actually makes me feel better about it.
Good.
Mm.
Awesome.
See, and even with the slides, I think I'm even gonna do that now. So I'm like,
Awesome. Okay, good.
yeah,
Yeah. And
It
one thing
helps.
I heard so many of you, I think each of you in your own ways talked about wanting to feel more consistent, which to me says I want to feel more successful. And so if you do choose to start using the habit tracker or any way of tracking your habits, the way what I always share with people is every box that you check is a victory. So shift your mind from all the ones that didn't get checked off over to the ones that did and
Yeah.
celebrate those, because well-being, one definition of well-being, my favorite definition, is how we feel about our lives and what we're doing. And that's a habit like any other, is training our minds to look at what we are doing, the success that we are creating. And if we want to, make some tweaks, great. But to really recognize all the great stuff you're already doing.
Yeah. And here's the thing I want to say, because, like you may say, well, I didn't accomplish what I wanted to accomplish today. But look at what did you accomplish. So it goes back to what you said, Andrew, the small wins. You all had a small win. Like you look at today's schedule, your day today. What was a win? And really, write it down. What was that small win?
Yeah. And if you ever have a day when you're like, I didn't get anything done today, like actually sit down and write down what you did get done.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
maybe it was
That makes sense.
resting in the extreme, you literally
Or shower.
just rested. Maybe
Because
that's what you needed.
we're always looking at what we didn't accomplish. But when we
Yeah.
look at what we did accomplish, it makes you feel good. It's like today, it's like I literally, because I changed over my Facebook group and I changed a lot of stuff with what I'm targeting. So I did calls and I called the
Mm.
people in my group. And
Good.
I just told him, like always said, I got a call back. She's staying in the group. She does have trauma. She's there. I actually sent her another message if she'd like to get on a call.
Good.
And then another one too. She says no, but she goes, I signed up for your master class. But
Nice.
she didn't really, I sent her the Zoom. I said she has to sign on the Zoom link.
Yep.
But so that's a win. It's not a big win, but it's a win.
It's a win. It's a
Awesome.
win. That is a big win. All
Yeah,
right.
for me, it's a big win.
No, it's a win. It's a win. I think you were so hard on ourselves and beat ourselves up. Oh, we didn't get anything done today. I had all this stuff, my family, this and stuff. But what did you get? What was a win? Okay. And Kathy, I love when you said I took a shower. That's a win.
Sometimes it's just so basic. Yeah.
I know. It's so basic and it's okay.
Mhm.
Today I focused on my mom. Today I had to focus on this because today this was my priority. What is that one thing I had to do today? Don't beat yourself up but always have that intention like, okay, today, what am I going to do for my business? What is one thing that I can do for my business? One thing. And even if it's a small thing, it's still a thing.
Mhm.
It's better than doing nothing. Okay, so I want you to really, every day, make it a habit to do one thing, as big as it could be as little as I reached out to 2 people in
Mhm.
my group. I created a free resource to like whatever it is, whatever your goal is for the day, and say, okay, this is my one thing I'm going to achieve by the end of today. It's a non-negotiable. Make it a non-negotiable and say, I'm going to get this done one way or another. And when you start to do more of that, it's going to become a habit. Just like the walk, like the exercising, like for me, exercising is a challenge, just doing it consistently, that ritual in the morning but I have to really be more intentional, like, okay, I got to plan my schedule better. That's really my planning my schedule better. All right. And so that to me is my challenge, is to fit in my exercising in my schedule. That's my biggest challenge. It is. I'll be honest. It's my biggest challenge. And I'm like, God, I didn't like today. Oh, I didn't do any walking today. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, I didn't do any walking today. But I had the time, even if it was 10 minutes, I had the time to do it. I chose not to. All right, but I had the time. So I can't say I didn't have the time because I had the time. In between calls, I could have done it, but I didn't. Okay? So I have to look at myself and say, why didn't you, Tina? So tomorrow, I'm looking at my calendar. I'm like, I'm going to fit it in one way or the other. One way or the other, I'm going to fit it in. And that's what I think you have to all say to yourself, one way or another, I'm going to get this done. This one thing I got to do today. Does that make sense? All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming. I'll stop the recording and we will send you the recording